Welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to Afternoon Coffee with Legrand Data Power and Control. My name is Jawahar. I'm the innovation lead at Data Center Power and Control Division within Legrand. I'm excited to have this series going and welcome to our show. This is the second episode, if you will, and we got a really great start last week, and we have an exciting show today. But to introduce you to the show itself, why we are doing this, what started us on this path. Well, as you all know, a couple of weeks back, all our worlds turned upside down, and it wasn't a fun experience, but we are all making it work. And we started these series of webinars and shows where we can share some of the things that we do well with our customers. And in this show, we share stories. We realize when we meet at the cafeteria or for coffee somewhere, there are a lot of stories that we talk about, and they tend to be things that we are very passionate about how we solve the customer's problems, how we thought out of the box and came up with some unique solutions to some very challenging problems. So we thought maybe it's a good idea to start sharing those during this lockdown period and have a community going. And that's the genesis behind the show. And today's topic is zero touch conference rooms. Let me take a moment to introduce the topic a little bit. So we all have been in conference rooms, and there are screens now instead of projectors, but still there is some level of management needed for those screens to function well when you need them. And so we have come up with some solutions that makes it easier to manage these from remote. And that's the topic for the show today. And I would like to introduce the speakers of today's show. So I'm going to welcome Joe Reyes first. Joe and I have worked together in the past couple of years, but before that we used to compete. So when Joe shows up on his camera, you'll see him. Probably many of you recognize him. Hey Joe, how are you?
Hello. Pretty good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Well, it's a little
Good to
hot
be
and
here.
here, but other than that, uh, everything is great. Hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend as well.
I did. I did. It was
Awesome.
a lot of fun.
So Joe works with us in works with customers, I would say, solving real life problems. So I'm excited to have him here. We also have Prabhakar joining us from all the way from New Jersey. So he's going to be in here in a sec. So Prabhakar and I, we go a long way back. We're great friends, and we've known each other for like a couple of decades now. So hey Prabhakar, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Good to have you at the show. So here's the panel. We're going to open the show with a couple of questions from my side, and I'm going to let them do most of the talking. And towards the end, if we have some time, we'll open it for audience questions. All right. So that's the format. So Joe, I'll start with you. I mean, I know you from our days competing for the same massive data center customers all the time. So how come you got associated with conference rooms? How did this whole thing start? And explain a little bit about what are we doing in a conference room?
Yeah, well, it's interesting the way that we got involved. We had a particular customer. They were a data center customer that we primarily sold our ServerTech PDUs were for this one customer. We were the de facto standard. So we knew a lot of people. It's a great company. We have a really good relationship, but we didn't really deal with the other side, which would be the AV side, IT side, mainly because our product was more focused on the data center. And how we got involved with this customer is someone from our sister company, Mid-Atlantic. They were doing a lot of projects on buildings and conference rooms and offering all the products that they do on the AV, which is what they focus on. And they didn't have a specific solution, which was focusing on international. And the customer couldn't find anything either. They're looking wherever they can find it. So they told the Mid-Atlantic rep, and they said, hey, listen, we can't find this anywhere international with what we need in order to manage all of our conference rooms from a remote location. And that's where we were introduced. And from there, that's pretty much how we got engaged. And then we started engaging engineering and the rest of the team to try to make something happen with a very short time frame. So yeah, that's pretty much the engagement there. And the IT is definitely different the way that when you have an IT or AV person, they have a lot of different moving parts because they're trying to focus on different variables as opposed to a data center, which it's more, they have that specific environment. So yeah, that's pretty much the engagement there that we got. Can't hear you there.
Mute, yeah. So
yeah.
So tell us more. I mean, we've been in these conference rooms. I mean, before we used to have these projectors, and they were mounted on the ceiling, and it was hard to really do much with them. You can't find the remote if you want to adjust anything. So then those are almost gone. So most of the data center, I mean, I keep saying data center, most of these conference rooms now have these massive screens that are easy to access right on the wall. So what's the real challenge here? Like, what is it that we are helping with these remote access that's generally known in the data centers?
Yeah, well, a lot of changes have happened over the past several years. I mean, even more in the past year or so or whatnot. You have a lot of a technology that's going in the conference room, around the conference room. And you know, nowadays you see all these companies where you're trying to reserve a conference room, and they got to hit the LCD screen out there and do that kind of stuff. And with all that comes complexity. And one of the biggest challenges that they have is that there's all this equipment, they're trying to hide it in places, and a lot of times they put it behind the TV screen. And with that, now you have all these electronic devices that we all know what the best thing to do when something is not working, and that's reboot it. So whether it's a phone or laptop, server, TV, video camera, projector, whatever it is, that's the first line of defense, and that's kind of what we were dealing with. And it was finding a way to be able to remotely turn these units on and off, and that would be from wherever, anywhere in the world, in addition to being able to see what's going on. And part of that, you can just see if there's power in the conference room or not, and then of course tie other things in there as well. I actually have a good little a picture that I took, and let me see here if I can share my screen here.
That would be great. Any visual you have would help kind of see what the real challenge is. So before we talk about how we solved it.
Do you see that picture there? Or is that?
That looked very familiar.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, sorry about that. That was when we won that there. Just wanted to throw that in there.
That's
see,
right.
There's a. Yeah.
Hope our colleagues are watching that too.
Yeah, just so they can see. Yeah, that we did get first. Just wanted to say, you know. So. Yeah. So this actually shows. I mean, this is a good example. I was actually just at a meeting with a customer, and of course, this wasn't one that we're dealing with on the IT side, but it shows you the stuff that you don't see, right? When you're in a conference room, you don't see any of this stuff. You'll probably just see that camera there, you know, in the middle, and everything else is hidden. So this is actually the left screen. You can see they have two screens here. You can't really see it in the picture. So on the right side, there's even more equipment that's hidden behind there. And here you have a Mac Mini, and then you have some other devices here. And then you also have, here's a basic PDU. So this is the way that they would normally deploy something like this. And of course, you have this Mac Mini, you want to reboot it. You may be able to boot it remotely, but sometimes you lose access to it, and even the video camera and whatnot. So by replacing this basic PDU with a intelligent PDU, in a small form factor, you'd be able to basically now remotely either monitor or cycle this unit by accessing it at a lower level, which is basically at the power level. So that's I really like showing that there, because it shows that not a lot of people are aware. Of course, AV people are totally aware of this, but us, other people that go into conference rooms all the time, we never see this unless obviously they don't have the TV on if it's off the screen. So, but yeah, and that's kind of where in order to make a solution to fit this, we needed to get someone like Prabhakar's team involved in order to help design what the customer was looking for this environment.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we don't see this. We don't even think about these until something doesn't work, right? Then we complain about, oh, those IT people, what are they doing, right? So who knows? Exactly. So much goes behind it. So yeah, this is a great picture. Thank you. So Prabhakar, maybe this is a good time for you to chime in and say, like, what did we design for this particular environment? I mean, we are generally designing these massive PDUs that are long, 70 inches or high or taller, or like 1U mount. But what's unique about what we designed for this space?
Right. Like you said, when we do anything for data center, it's either a 0U with 70 inches and above, or it would be a 1U PDU. And when Joe came to us, there were like three major requirements in this. One is it has to be a 9x5 chassis with 1.5 inch height, a 1.7 head, which is a typical in any rack mount PDU. And then the other thing is the customer need to have the capability to remotely turn on and have some kind of metering. They still want to measure how much power all these devices are drawing in the environment and also in the conference room. And then it would be nice to have if they can plug in webcams and some other sensors so that they can extend their functionality just about remote metering and switching, but also like, I mean, what if they can put in a sensor to see if somebody comes in, automatically turn on the screens and things like that. So for us, the biggest challenge is both in the mechanical and also in the electrical case, because it's easy to just, if it's a basic PDU, it's very easy to bend the metal and come up with a 9x5 chassis. But here you need intelligence, which means we need to have the correct outlet modules and have the right PCB in board to really fit into this chassis. So luckily, we did have a different group of Legrand organization which was working on a set of PDUs which had these locking outlets with a 4-outlet module which would actually fit into a 9x5 chassis. So we borrowed their design from them and developed the new boards to fit in our controller, which we talk about more about the functionalities of it. And we were able to meet this 9x5 design. And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, we were actually able to give out the sample in 4 to 5 weeks to the end customer. So that was
I'll correct you on that, because it was actually less than that. It was like 3.5 weeks. I know we're not committing to that, but you guys did a great job on that.
Right. Typically any sample would be 5 weeks. So I thought probably we did the same, but so that was the biggest challenge, like coming up with a new board and also coming up with the the chassis of it and putting all the components and quickly testing it. Yeah, we were able to achieve that.
That's great. So it seems like a very small unit if it needs to fit behind. So Joe, last time we spoke, you said you're going to maybe show it. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Maybe you can,
so I happen to have one here myself.
Maybe you can stop sharing your screen so we can see your picture better, and I can turn off my camera as well.
I stopped sharing it. I stopped it already.
The screen.
Does it have the PDUs on there? Does it have that screen on there?
You still see your Windows desktop. So if you can stop sharing that, and then we can see your video.
It says that it's paused. Oh, stop showing. I got it.
All right, there you go.
There we go.
All right. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
You're
Yeah.
all VC,
So,
so you can show the PDU now.
yeah. So basically, this is the unit here. I actually bring this pretty much everywhere I go on the plane and any customers or whatnot, because it actually has the same firmware that we have on all of the other Raritan PDUs. It's a great product. You can see that we have network ports on there. We can actually change the screen here. You can see all of the functionality, like IP addresses. You can go inside the PDU and see that all from the screen here with these buttons. You can also tie in the sensors, and then we also have the USB here that you can go ahead and then connect other devices as well. One of the things that Prabhakar changed. This is actually the domestic unit, so we have NEMA outlets. But on the international, which is the one that we had, we put C13s on there, and those C13s were a way that we could actually address having anywhere in the world. You can have a C13 plug and then have that adapt to whatever device they needed for whatever plug, and that's why we have the input cord that you can change. So right now, obviously, I have a NEMA input cord that we can change out when you have the C13s, and then plug that into wherever it is internationally for that. So this is pretty much all that changes in the BOM, with the exception of course, when you have the cables, the C13 cables that are going in there, then you can have those adapters if you need to for whatever that specific area is. Another thing that we did, and when we first started with this, the way that Prabhakar designed it was it didn't have the LCD screen, and it had 4 buttons, and then you could hit the buttons, and then the buttons would turn off and on the outlet. So the user ended up saying, look, we don't like that. We like to be able to have more functionality on the screen and be able to cycle through everything you need to do. It's a little hard here for me to do it but go through all the settings and do that. So then we added the LCD screen and added that functionality. The other thing too that we did was, you can see here this the flange that we have. So right here, this mounting flange, what it does, we originally were going to just put keyholes on the back of the unit, so you could just kind of hang it, put the screws in and then hang it. And they didn't like that because there was a couple things with that they needed to worry about now about getting a bracket. We were going to give them a bracket first, and then they said, then we did the keyholes, and then they said they didn't want that because now if you make a flange, you could just put this on the wall, and then when you put it on the wall, just screw right in, and it makes it really easy, and they don't have any mounting brackets that they have to lose or try to, when it gets sent to a site and it's like, okay, where's the bracket? I can't install it. So that's how this unit pretty much came to fruition, and it can be leveraged more than just in the conference room. You could do digital signage, or just anywhere. It could be one customer. This actually the same customer was talking about putting it. They had massage chairs, and they wanted to basically limit the time the people were on the massage chair, so that once it sensed that someone would log in, then it would shut it off. But that didn't come to fruition. But you could definitely use it for many different things. So yeah.
I can see you using it in your Tesla pretty soon, right? Or, unless you already have one.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Prabhakar, can you make something happen there?
Joe's all about this PDU because, like you said, he actually takes them everywhere. Maybe he has one under his pillow too. I don't know. But
absolutely, I have it under my pillow. Yes, to keep me warm at night.
The other thing he's very passionate about is Tesla. So I thought maybe he'll find a way to combine both passions in one. So talking about the Tesla, I just reminded of the big screen it has. So do you see that it's like you've been in these conference rooms after the PDU was installed behind the screen? How convenient is it to reach and and use the screen. We do have the LCD screen that we added, but how convenient or how easy is it to access it?
For you're saying, oh, to get, oh,
when
well,
you're there,
I mean,
when you're in person, when you're
when you're there, I mean, yeah, I mean, one of the advantages that they have here is that now with this unit, they can actually just, they could put it on the side of the TV, and then you have full access to see this there, and then you could actually just, do it from the side of the TV, and it doesn't matter where all that other equipment is behind it. They could hide that anywhere because they don't need to access it in order to turn it on or off. And then you could use the USB port and plug into it, which is another advantage that you have. So you just plug it in. This is like something that I just have a regular USB cable, and then you could just go ahead and plug it into the phone. And if you see, like here, it's not plugged in, and then if I plug it in, I'll have full access to the PDU now. So then now this is the full GUI that you get when you're basically logged into the unit itself. So they could do it like this way as well. So it's very easy to now control all that equipment.
Yeah, so when you're physically there, you could use your phone or an iPad for better visibility if you need to do more while you're there and take care of things.
Yeah, or Android phone, whatever it is that you need, just download the app from the App Store, and that will work out.
It's fascinating how Prabhakar can talk more about the platform itself that we created originally for data centers, but now we are using it in other places that we didn't expect that they would go into. Even the app access on your phone, it was meant for the hot aisle. You're standing there, and with a lot of cabling, you can read what's on the PDU. So this was a convenient way. So Prabhakar, tell us more about like why we chose this platform versus, I mean, this is
right. Before jumping into the platform, there is one thing which I want to, something that we did add on to the hardware, is since it's going to be, from a Legrand or from a Raritan perspective, quality has always been the top priority. So this product is an industrial product from a hardware and electrical perspective, and also since this is going to be in an AV IT world, we added an MOV onto the unit. So this way, because it does, the power quality in any of the conference room is not going to be same quality as that you see in a data center, right? So we did have an MOV/surge protector in the unit. So this will give voltage protection if there is going to be anything in the power quality. So onto the platform, all of our products, it's runs on the same platform called Xeris, right? Xeris gives us the flexibility that if you buy any unit from Raritan, it's going to be working with any of the BMS, DSIM, or any of the software that needs to be integrated into the system. So when this customer came to us, because these units are going to be installed across multiple offices around the world, so they need a single platform to really access all this stuff. So then we thought, okay, let's just use our existing platform, which has SNMP, JSON API, and we can also write customized Lua scripts to test any functionality. So let's just build it in the same platform. So this way they could just integrate it with any of the cloud or a virtual appliance platform that they want to use. So to summarize, like if you are an existing Raritan customer with a data center solution, and if you install these products in a conference room, you could still use your same BMS or a DSIM solution to integrate these products into the same platform. And it also goes through, these products also goes through the complete test suite that we do for the standard DC products.
Yeah, I mean,
and you did that in a quick time frame too, to make it work. Not 4 to 5 weeks; it was less than that.
Right. I mean, and to add on some of the things that Joe was saying, I mean, so it's probably a year more than a year since we did this project, and we do have a lot of interest from some of the our traditional DC customers for these products now. So because they all want those industrial quality inside their offices, and they are starting to look at these products.
And one point on that too that I'd like to say is that, you know, because like I bring it around with me where I go because it fits in my bag very well, is when I show it to some of the data center guys or whatnot, they get interested and they know, say, hey, that would be good to work in the conference room. So it actually opens up conversation to something that wasn't really there before. Now we have this option for them.
That's great. That's great. Hey, by the way, we did have one question on the line while we were talking. So it's outstanding. What is the US part number for this PDU? So it seems like there's already some interest.
Great. So can we share that the URL in the chat window, so that way like they could get access to the data sheets and all the information about about this unit?
Absolutely. So we can certainly do that.
It's it's PXO-2402.
Yeah.
42R.
That's the part number.
42R.
Yeah. R. There you go. This exactly 42R. And then if they wanted the international, it would be 2401R. Because and the reason for that is because the international is what we started with, and then they said they wanted domestic. So that's kind of how that panned out.
Right. And like you said, the only difference is going to be the cord set. It's going to be different. Well, the outlets are different as well. Instead of NEMA, you'll have IC C13 outlets, right?
That's correct. And they
the way.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, the domestic we typically, and with the few customers we've been dealing with on this specific product, we primarily go domestic. We include the input cord, and then we don't include the input cord on the international, because in that way they can decide and have their integrator, whoever's doing that IT install, go ahead and put that specific cord for that location.
Great. Okay. So we are like 3 minutes close to our close. So what do you have in there, Joe? What were you drinking? Are you a coffee guy, by the way?
Well, they're going to have to ask that question, because, they got to figure out, I can't divulge that on the call. The other thing too is that I know that you and me, we had this discussion, Jawahar, before the call, and that we had a bet, and the bet was that people, you thought that people wouldn't want to know, and I did, the secret ingredient for making your scrambled eggs fluffy. So if someone wants to know what that is, you don't need to tell them here. They can directly message you and ask you for your fluffy scrambled eggs recipe. One ingredient, that's all he has. He's got this secret. This guy's like amazing. He should be a chef.
I can't believe you sprang that here, but you just did.
Maybe you won't tell people that,
I know Prabhakar drinks a lot of coffee, so we had quite a few coffee together. So hey, I just wanted to thank you all for joining, and this has been a fun chat. I think this is as close as we are to having real coffee in person. So I'm glad all of you listening joined as well, and hope to see you next week with another fascinating topic on how to manage operational technology devices in a way you handle IT devices. So we are bridging the gap between IT and what is called OT, the operational technology. So hopefully you can, we'll see you there. And thanks again for joining, and have a great day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.